Hi, I'm Dr. Jim.
And I'm Dr. Janine.
We're here today to tell you a little bit more information about something. Perhaps it's a test that you've had done. It's called an HS, or high sensitivity CRP, or C-reactive protein. It's all about inflammation.
They call it the cardiac CRP.
Yeah.
But what we wanted to tell you is it's not always cardiac. So how do you know when it is and how do you know when it's not? That's what we're here to tell you.
Because a lot of people come in and they think, well, okay, my C-reactive, they do an hs-CRP. The normal range on it runs from 1 up to 3, which is very low. But it will pick up a low level of inflammation. But let's talk about inflammation for just a second. Mm-hmm. Inflammation, and maybe you've heard this term, inflammation is the cause of all disease.
Right. So you don't want a high CRP.
I don't even want average.
No, you don't. Actually, below 1, you said it goes from 1 to 3. Actually, it goes from 0 to 3.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's put this way. The acceptable range. Right. Because they'll always say, well, you're at a 1.5, you're fine. I don't think so. And even though it's not elevated, it's not above 3, or it's well within a range, I don't even like being normal.
When it comes to risk, and it'll tell you it is your cardiovascular risk is what it shows. When it's under 1, you're at low risk. When it's between 1 and 3, you're at average risk. If it is over 3, you're at high risk.
And let's talk about what that's risk of.
Right.
Think about heart attacks and strokes.
Right. Cardiovascular. Yeah. That's what it is looking at the risk specifically. Is it always cardiac? No. Nope. Sometimes we see a CRP, off the chart, like 80. Normally in cases like that, when it's extreme, it's usually either an infection or it is another autoimmune type inflammatory process going on in the body. Something like rheumatoid arthritis, something like lupus, something like gout can do it. There's other things that when it makes extreme systemic inflammation can actually elevate the hs-CRP even though it's not cardiac. But when it's elevated, does that mean you're not at risk? No, it does not. It just shows you that all these other conditions can increase cardiac risk as well. Inflammation in the body is just not good. Inflammation, like he said, cause of all disease. So you definitely don't want your hs-CRP to be elevated. And a few things over the years we've always seen increase it. And one is outside hormones, especially estrogen in women, whether it be birth control, whether it be hormone replacement therapy later with the synthetic estrogens, it'll raise a CRP. And people will say, oh, well, if it's just my estrogen, that means it's okay. I was like, no, because look at what one of the biggest risks of taking estrogen is: stroke. I've seen 20-year-olds with strokes from birth control pills.
Yes, we have.
And they were probably the ones that would have had a high CRP had it been checked. So we do see high CRP in young people because of something they might be taking. Like I said, infection, it could be just a short-term thing. You still want to do everything you can to get it down. But infections will definitely short-term increase it. So that's why when you do have a high CRP, you want to recheck later to make sure it's down. You want to make sure it wasn't just that infection, but maybe something along with the infection. So it's got to be stuff that's watched closely if you want optimal health. Now, when an hs-CRP is elevated, our go-to to lower it is SPM Select.
Yes.
It by far works better than anything out there for elevated inflammation markers.
And you can see, I think we've got a video on SPM.
We have a video specifically on SPM Select. So go look at SPM Select, because we could do a whole show just on that.
Yes.
But do something like that to bring down the inflammatory response and see your health get better. The SPM has also been actually shown to help pain as well. So if people have pain, it's also used for that as well. So your C-reactive protein is not always cardiac, but it can be. And if it's below 10, it probably is. That's kind of one of the rule of thumbs. And there's always exceptions. But when it's below 10, so if it's between 3 and 10, you're at high risk. And so you do want to look at the other cardiovascular markers and start looking at other things like homocysteine and oxidized LDL and fibrinogen and an NMR, things that also affect the cardiac system. There's a lot of other testing you can do. So if you have that test, which we do see the hs-CRP done a little bit more than some of those other tests.
It is.
So if you do have one that is elevated, make sure you do further testing when it comes to cardiovascular health.
No doubt. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a contact, call us, check us in, email, whatever. Just contact us, and we'll be glad to help you any way we possibly can. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hopefully you're going to be a little healthier.